Okay, so this is gonna be one of my more serious videos, and I'm just adjusting the camera angle to make sure it looks good. This is gonna be one of my more serious videos, but I was watching Hamza's video about spirituality, and I actually agree with a lot of what he said, but I wanted to give a different perspective, and that perspective is as somebody who was former red pill, right? I was somebody who was obsessed about self improvement. I still am to this day. Like the core of self improvement and the idea that you can improve your life if you concentrate and focus, that has never left my soul. Like I've always been a self-improvement person, right? I have to admit, psychedelics saved my life. And I am saying this as somebody who grew up in an anti-drug household. Now, before I get chewed up and swallowed by the audience, you have to understand something about the way I grew up. For the first 20 years of my life, I thought anybody who smoked weed, anybody who like got high in school or after school, I thought they were degenerate losers because I had that immigrant mentality that the fact that you have to smoke weed and escape from life means you're pathetic, means you're weak, means that you're somebody with not good character and you're just somebody who you can't get a grasp of yourself, right? Like that was genuinely the deep-seated beliefs I had. And I mainly got that from my parents because my parents were extremely anti-drug. I remember the first year of 19 when I even started experimenting with anything, got into huge arguments with my mom about it. Like we got into brutal arguments about it because she found out I had like the dab pen. She found out I was hiding these things from her, and understandably so from a mother's perspective, like to see her son who is excelling in high school, has the academics to now like doing this, it's like what happened, what went wrong, right? And I make this video because at some point my work hard and overcome any and every challenge mentality, it worked until it didn't. And the crack started showing during COVID. When COVID first came up, I was very fortunate to get unemployment. And if you guys know anything about the unemployment situation, you also got the $600 boost back in 2020 with like the stimmy checks, right? And in my naive 19-year-old self, like he had good intentions, but he wanted to invest that money and create generational wealth for his family because that was a chance to break generational poverty and kind of use the opportunity for good. And what quickly became a good intentioned approach of investing in stocks quickly became a gambling addiction with options. Because that was when I was also introduced to options, which are temporary contracts you could trade on a ticker. And I quickly realized I can make a lot of money. I remember making a play on Apple and I didn't know what I was doing. I bought a bunch of calls and I ended up making $800 in a day. And as a 20-year-old who never made even $100 in a day, that was astounding. I thought at the time I found the answer. I found the way I was going to make income for the rest of my life. And, there would be days that were good. I would make $1,000 in a day. I'd make more in a day. And it felt really good. But the lows were brutal. For every day I made $1,800, there would be days where I lost $400, $500. I was hemorrhaging money. And every time I lost money, I would always use the unemployment to dump more and more money in. I was naive. I was in a delusional la la land for weeks where I kept trading options and I kept thinking, oh, I have more money. I have more money. I can save that play even if it's going wrong because I was so emotional. I wasn't emotionally regulated. I had no idea what I was really doing. I had no technical analysis, no fundamental analysis, and I was just destroying my life, right? And by the end of 2020, I had lost it all. I used my last $1,000 to make a play, and that $1,000 quickly became $4,000 in 10 minutes. But I was too greedy, too selfish, too hurt from all the losses I accumulated that year that I didn't sell when the time was right. And my $1,000 went to $4,000, quickly went back to $1,000 to then $0. So I lost it all by the end of 2020, and I was devastated. As we head into 2021, that was the year where my unemployment got reduced, and like I was still trading options, but not on the grandiose scale that I did in 2020. And I was still struggling. Like I every day I was trying to network, I was trying to find internship opportunities for myself, but there was a part of myself here that constantly beat himself up for losing that money. I could not forgive myself. And at the same time, I was starting to gain a lot of weight. When I went back to university that senior year, which was fall 2021, I started Uber Eats it every day. I started spending all day in the dorm room because mentally I gave up on life. I became the Thor in Avengers Endgame who, after he failed to beat Thanos, he gets fat, loses his purpose, forgets who he is, and just like bathes in his own misery, right? And it got bad. Like my friends started noticing, yo, Mahdi, like you're 50 pounds overweight. Like, who are you becoming? I literally would ask my friend for his PS5. I would borrow his PS5 just to play Detroit Becomes Human. Like, I'd wake up at 8, bro. I would literally order Uber Eats on my ex-girlfriend's card. And, like, I would just play that game. Clothes were all over. And, like, I'm not saying this because I'm proud of that. I'm just saying that because that was my life. To say that was not my life would be so inauthentic, right? It was my life. And I was drowning fast. I had no job opportunity. 50 pounds heavier than I am today, right? Like, even my mom, she gave me $5,000 to pay for the last semester because she doesn't know how to pay for it. Like, you have to go on the internet, you have to go on the university's e-bill and pay for it. And instead of using that $5,000 appropriately, because I was a piece of shit back then, I used that $5,000 on a Tesla play that could have made me $16,000 if I just wasn't doubtful and fearful. But honestly, it's good that that didn't happen because I would have lost that money anyways. And instead, that $5,000 becomes zero. And it was there and then I knew I had a deep, deep fucking problem. And I'm sorry for my cursing. Like, I try not to curse, especially because I'm a practicing Muslim. But really, then and there, I just realized, yo, I am fucked up. Like, I have a fucking problem, bro. Like, the fact I spent half of my mom's 10K for gambling instead of what she wanted it for. The fact that I had to take a loan, more loans out to cover that tuition. It was so embarrassing. Like, I felt like such a deep character deficit that was like, there's something wrong with me. I have to fix whatever happened. And it was around that time some of my friends here were taking psychedelics. And of course, again, anti-drug mentality. I was like, no, only losers or weirdos or pathetic people take these substances. But as life got worse, I had to really sit back and be like, my mentality doesn't work. Like, there is something clearly wrong with how I am navigating life, and I need to have the humility to admit that I don't know what I'm doing. So I took my first psychedelic trip in January 2022, and I was terrified. It was like, oh, 2 weeks before my last semester, had no idea what it was gonna do, and it ended up being such an earth-shattering experience for me. Like, mentally speaking, I was able to deconstruct my gambling addiction in such a way that it lost like the emotional spark. Because if you guys know anything about depression, if you guys know anything about like having like a disorder, you can't logically tell somebody to snap out of it. You can't. Like, you could give them all the logical solutions in the world, but it is essentially in its core an emotional problem, and not a lot of people are understanding of their emotions. And believe me, again, as that former red pill, former self-improvement guy, if you don't understand your emotions, bro, you are going to be fighting an uphill battle for the rest of your life. I don't care what you have materialistically. If you don't understand what is going on here and here, you're screwed. You are cooked, bro. You are cooked. But, on that trip, I had such an, like, coming to God moment where literally, like, I just saw that money wasn't my God. Money is a tool that is important, but it shouldn't be everything. And 4 months later, guys, if you guys were the OGs, you guys would remember this. 4 months later, I lost 40 pounds. I restarted my YouTube channel. I went from being absolutely unemployable to having two part-time jobs at the end of my college year. I completely turned everything around in those 4 months because they essentially helped me find myself again. I was able to filter and deeply process the pain that had happened to me since COVID, and I was able to become a better version of myself that I always knew I was capable of. And ever since then, in all transparency, every 6 months of my life, I have taken a psychedelic trip. Every day, I've always done my responsibilities. I've always done my homework assignments. I've always done anything and everything in my job before. Because to me, that is a nervous system reset. That is a chance. It's a checkpoint for me to check in with myself and see how I'm doing. And again, I know a lot of us have preconceived notions on psychedelics. I don't blame you. But bro, we live in a world where the medical industry is constantly giving you prescriptions that only suppress the symptoms. They don't even actually deal with the core root. They just suppress the symptoms. So I want you to critically ask yourself, like, if you watch this video this far, really ask yourself if psychedelics are that bad. Because again, I'm saying this as somebody who absolutely thought weed was like Satan's plant, right? Like 5 years ago. It has benefited me tremendously. And the reason I make this video, even though I'm nervous too, is because it would be so disingenuous to you, the audience, as you see me, as you're learning about me, as you're learning about my story, it would be so disingenuous to pretend or act like psychedelics weren't a part of that journey. I see it almost as the equivalent of a fitness influencer using PEDs, but they're not admitting it when you see their body or their workout routine. Like, that is absolutely disingenuous because that is a huge reason why they got the body they have, right? Likewise, the mind I have today, the one that is significantly more calmer, the one that significantly has less ADHD symptoms, the one that is significantly more accepted in whatever life gives to me and isn't always trying to force outcomes all the time. A huge, not all, but a huge reason for why that is because of psychedelics. They've allowed me to use it as a microscope for my emotions and understand it and be connected with it and honestly become a more integrated human being. And I think as we see in society, I think people need that more than ever before. Like, we are records low in terms of empathy, like our ability to sit in other people's shoes, to feel connected with each other. And I think a really huge reason for why that is because we don't even understand our own emotions, right? So, yeah, that's the point of this video. The point of this video is that psychedelics did save my life. I'm not promoting psychedelics as the cure. They are not. I'm not going to also promote you to take psychedelics either. But again, I'm not going to also say psychedelics are terrible and evil because that's a societal narrative. They're not. If you use it wisely, if you use it intentionally, they can bring a plethora of benefits that can forever change your life. And I stand on that because that's been my human experience. And to deny that is to deny my story. So if you enjoyed the video, please let me know. Don't like, don't comment, don't subscribe. I'm not feeding for or not fishing for likes or views anymore. So thanks again for watching this video. I really appreciate that you stuck with me in this hard topic and see you for the next one.